covers.
Yo,
If you know,
it tastes like shellac. It tastes like shellac.
If you knew how many green rooms I brought this into and how many theaters across this great country and tried to interest Frangela in some rice crackers.
No.
I want to do a quick impression for you. So these are a new kind, and they have they're wrapped with. Hang on a second.
They make a new kind.
Yeah, seaweed. It's wrapped in seaweed, and I dropped one by accident yesterday, and Clyde picked it up, and he just did this. I saw him go. And I was like, that's exactly how Frangela reacts to my rice crackers. He was like,
and those have flavor.
Yeah, the seaweed.
Yeah, seaweed flavor.
Yeah. All right.
Seaweed's yummy.
Yeah,
go to my Instagram.
Wrapped in dry.
Right.
Go to my Instagram page, Angela V. Shelton of the Detroit Sheltons, facial acting in the me ordering broccoli at Kansas City barbecue restaurant is a triumph. As was Francis Callier's narration.
I'm not acting. I'm trying to survive the moment.
So when I got home, he saw it on the social medias, and he goes, "What was she trying to do up in there? What was she?"
I just wanted to be with you guys. I wasn't that hungry, and they didn't have collard greens. And you know what? I'm done explaining this to people. All right, so Frangela. So I was just talking about this piece in the Hill, the headline. What is the headline? I already wiped my ass with it. Hang on, let me take it out of the... I wiped my ass with it already. Momentum shifts against Harris in presidential race. Based on nothing. It's just they're trying to make us freak out at this point. Here's the real headline. Harris maintains strong lead among black swing state voters. They do this fear-mongering here about Obama's speech and she's losing black support. Young black men aren't going to vote for her. She's 87% to 12%, the exact same percentage of the black vote that Biden got. And how many of these have you seen? This clickbait, this,
Yep.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Again, never doubt that the media works for itself.
Right.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. It does not work for democracy. It does not work for truth. It does not work for facts. It works to sell. That's what it does.
Yeah. Well, this is NBC. Vice President Harris still has a wide lead over Trump among black voters in battleground states, according to a new poll. This one is 84% likely black voters. 8% say they'll support Trump. Another 8% are undecided. Yep. Francis, did you have any thoughts for undecided black voters at this point?
I mean, are you kidding me? Who are you? Who are you?
Let me be clear about something. If there's some black people out here in any numbers that don't vote for Kamala or don't vote, you will not see black people for like 2-3 days anywhere in America, and there won't be a public restroom you can get into because we will have taken them all to the ladies' room to have a very, very, very thorough discussion about what we not going to do.
So
and what we are. No.
It's my favorite moment in Kansas City is Francis yelling on stage, "Get your undecided black ass up on this stage." I got to talk to you.
I can't say that. I can't say what I would say on stage on the radio.
No, you
That's
cannot.
You gotta come to the show.
No, we can help you decide. We can help you decide really quick.
Exactly. But the more serious part is what we just played, Stuart Stevens talking about. They're quite obvious efforts to suppress the black vote as usual, but also intimidate. That's why, I keep urging people to vote early because that's why they hate vote by mail and vote early because they can't figure out how to, intimidate black people at the polls or take out, voting machines in minority neighborhoods so that, the lines are 10 hours long and you can't get off work and you can't get childcare, right?
I was just saying this on the Final Word, I think, last week, that I remember, and I think that probably a lot of us can remember, my mother picking me up from daycare, taking me to vote. I remember going inside of that, curtained area, voting, looking at my parents' knees, while they voted. And then cut to me being able to fill out my ballot at home in ease. I don't have to, you don't have to go and get child care. It doesn't have to be after work.
Yeah.
It's not a specific day. The blessings of being able to vote by mail are tremendous.
Yeah. Can I just say, based on your previous stories about your childhood, I'm surprised that your mom put you in childcare, because I would think she'd like leave you with dingoes, or I don't know, cover you with honey, leave you on an anthill. That's surprising to me. That
That was weekends.
Well,
For fun. That's absolutely that.
Okay, a CNN panel exploded when a pro-Trump guest referenced a historical slur against black supporters of Kamala Harris, suggesting that they are the House African Americans. Oh, no.
They didn't say African American.
Oh, no, they did not. No. Wow. You know what we've been saying? Like, everything is 100% projection now in this race, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. Also, what do they like? Why? When did this become who is this person? What?
I don't even know.
Like, you're going to say Obama was talking down to black people, and this is what's going on?
Right.
Like, it's crazy to me. I do not understand it. And I think that what they're very confused about is that black people have been black their whole black life. So we are used to waiting in lines. We are used to waiting for things. If you think you can outwait a black person, I dare you to look at history. There is no way you're going to stop us from voting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's look at so this is CNN. I don't know what to make. This is rural Georgia, right? Mm-hmm. I don't think these people are Trump voters. Let's see. Okay, here we go. 6. Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
What are your views on the election?
Well, I ain't gonna vote for a criminal. Well, what he did in January the 6th was enough. And the way he could have did something that, they was beating on them cops down there.
There's your other Democrat.
Hi, come join us.
She's a CNN reporter, and she wants some Democrats in Brentwood County. She can't find one. I told her I knew a couple.
I mean, it depends, like, to what degree it's breaking through to people. But that guy, it seems like it is. I mean, the fact he just went on this whole, pro-police thing yesterday. Mm-hmm. Not the ones at the Capitol. I mean, just calls it a day of love and nobody was killed. And he says we, meaning like we, the insurrectionists, nobody had guns. Like, everything he said was a complete lie, right?
Yeah. He didn't call them there. Did any of us know about, I didn't know about no January 6th at all until Trump said be there.
Yeah, be there. It'll be wild.
Shirts.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Here's some more voters.
I vote for the man. I don't vote for their party.
So what are your thoughts on the election?
What are my thoughts on what?
On the election.
Ain't much to think about it.
Well, who are you going to vote for?
The right person.
Well, who do you think the right
It
person
won't
is?
be Donald Trump.
Okay, tell me why.
Last time you saw him talking, did you watch his lips?
Uh-huh.
Were they moving?
Uh-huh.
He's lying.
What?
So he's not voting for Trump.
Nope. Neither one of
Is
those
the
gentlemen.
Is the black lady a bridge
He
too
said
far?
the right person, so it sounds like it might be Harris. He's just not willing to say that.
I didn't.
All right, listen.
I
We don't
speak
care
that.
if you.
What was he speaking?
He's speaking rural Georgia.
He speaks deedly deedly. He speaks vittles.
Okay, I didn't
He
understand.
speaks diddle. He speaks diddle.
He said,
It's the funniest thing I've ever heard.
Okay, one more.
Mr. Wilson here was telling us that January 6th was a big disqualifier for him.
It should have been.
How do you feel about that?
I feel about it like he's anti-American.
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to overthrow our government.
I mean, it seems like it's breaking through,
It is.
but
Vittles is ready.
supper's on. Supper's on.
Yeah.
Vittles is ready.
Middles is ready.
That's what he was trying to say. I got to
I
go
don't
now.
need to be.
I got to go. Supper's on. Vittles is ready.
I don't want to be regionally. I don't. But
I
I
don't.
really did have trouble understanding what he was saying.
I speak vittles. And jive. I was saying this, I don't know at this point whether to believe any polls. I don't know. Chris was just being a naysaying, blocking buzzkill as he normally is, and we won't know for a week. I'm like, no, I think it's going to be a landslide, and we're going to know on election night, and I'm standing by that. Let's make it happen.
We're going to make it happen. But I was reminded by a friend of mine.
Yeah.
What?
I was reminded by a friend of mine that Trump isn't the president right now. Right. Joe Biden is.
Yes.
And whatever garbage they try to pull, it's Joe Biden who decides
Thank you.
how it
Thank
gets
you.
dealt with.
Thank you.
So January 6th, all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
we're not looking at the same fear.
All the threats and the bullying, Angela, I'm like, big on, you have no power here. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yep. But you know what? I believe they've put enough monkey wrenches in place that we won't know officially for 2 or 3 days.
All right, so you're on Captain Buzzkill's train. What, are you saying that wasn't a good Glinda? That was a really good Glinda. Big on.
You've done better, Glindas.
All right. Frangela. But here's the thing. So if it is, as tight as the polls, I don't know, it depends on what poll you're looking at. I mean, as I always say to Jody, boy, misogyny and racism are a hell of a drug. Both of them then. Yeah. Because, seriously, 34 count felon rapist, I mean, oh my God, who is dementing in, real time rapidly. He's having a rapid, what is it called? He's having an
de-escalation?
unassembled.
Sundowning.
A rapid disassembly.
Disassembly.
A
Yes,
rapid disassembly. Right.
Yes.
Or
And
decoupling.
that it could even be close with one of the most qualified people we've ever had run, who is running, can I just say, kind of a flawless campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, raised $1 billion, has had the shortest runway in presidential history. I mean, the fact that this could even be close is, I get it, a little depressing for people.
Yeah,
it makes me feel crazy.
When I'm looking at the billionaires that are pumping money into Donald Trump, it makes me go, I'm looking at people pump money into a liar.
Yeah.
To keep him afloat. By all means, he should have been done for. All of his his legal issues, etc., etc. We shouldn't be looking at this man.
The evidence that's going to get released today, you're like, for January 6th. I mean, that guy in rural Georgia was talking about it. We were saying the best journalist in America today is the 56-year-old construction worker at the town hall, the Univision town hall, that at least asked a hard question about, accountability for January 6th. To your point, Francis, Elon Musk just gave $75 million. With $75 million gift, Musk joins right-wing billionaires bankrolling Trump campaign. I mean, it's just, you're right, they're just dumping money into...
dumping money.
Yeah.
And dumping money into a loser.
Right.
To even make him come up to the level of, slime.
Yeah. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. 22 minutes after the hour, this portion of...
Fellas, we gotta talk. A lot of men seem to think that Donald Trump is some kind of tough guy. He's not. I mean, look at him. He wears more makeup than Dolly Parton. He whines like a baby. The guy's afraid of birds. Donald Trump had his daddy pay a doctor to say his Will feet hurt so he could dodge the draft. Look at that gut. Like a garbage bag full of buttermilk. He sells imaginary baseball cards pretending to be a cowboy fireman. The guy's barely strong enough to hold an umbrella. I mean, look how he drinks water. Like a little pink chickadee. He's got jugs, big ones, like Dolly Parton. He cheats at golf. He creeps around beauty pageant dressing rooms. You know that little dance he does? He looks like he's jacking off a pair of giraffes. He's moody, he pouts, he throws tantrums.
No, get those lights off!
He acts like a 5-year-old behind the wheel of a truck. He bends over for Putin. He's cattier on social media than a middle school mean girl. The guy needs help walking downhill. Almost there, Grandma. So this November, let's stop kidding ourselves. Donald Trump is afraid of rain, of dogs, of windmills, Merle Street, and being laughed at.
Isn't it past your jail time?
But mostly, he's terrified that real red-blooded American men will find out that he's a weak, tubby toddler.
Mommy, take me home. Mommy, I want to go home.
What's wrong, tough guy? Does someone grab you by the No, you bitch.
Paid for by guys who can still see the room.
Thank you, Dave. You're an American treasure.
Hi, I'm Ben Shapiro. You might remember me from Breitbart, holding my wood outside Home Depot, my 2016 op-ed, I will never vote for Donald Trump and here's why, or my 2020 vote for Donald Trump. What do you want? If you can't beat him, renounce your values and grovel before them. I don't care. I bet I make more than you. I'm sure I make more than you. And today, for the next 3 hours in this video, I'm gonna destroy Barbie. I'm gonna destroy her. I'm gonna own her. I'm gonna own her and destroy her. Those two things. I'm going to show you on the doll where the doll movie triggered me. The basic premise of the whole mise en scène is that Barbie is some kind of liberator figure, and basically that sets up 2 hours of non-stop, incoherent, feminist, liberal, women's studies, globalistic, secular human propaganda vomit disguised as cinema. And it's woke, too. Look, I spend the entire week feeding the grievance complexes of white men. When my weekend comes, I want an escape. I don't want woke Barbie. This Barbie ignores men and looks down on them and mocks them. And I've known women like this. Most women I've known, socially and in professional settings, have exactly like this. Honestly, I have not been this angry since that couples counselor kept trying to convince me that the female orgasm was real. It's not. You guys know. It's a myth. Like climate change. And racism. This movie uses the word patriarchy. A lot. A lot. I mean, use it once, fine. It goes over their heads, they don't know anything. But if you keep using that word, little girls are gonna know what it means. What's wrong with you? Most of the film is spent just smearing America's most vulnerable minority, wealthy white businessmen. Totally offensive. I was so outraged, I threw my booster seat at the screen. There's this transgender Barbie who exists in the film for seemingly no other reason than to tell children that transgenders are people that we should be nice to. Who's putting this in our kids' brains? Like, nobody ever gangs up on the trans Barbie, or calls it names, or says it's mentally ill, or misgenders it to make it cry, which, by the way, is completely legal, and you are allowed to do that anytime. They just accept it's trans like it's a person. Ha! Let's see if Islam lets you get away with that, Barbie. All the men in this movie are portrayed as these pathetic, frustrated vessels of impotent rage because they can't control women. Men are not trying to control women, and that's why we have to stop Greta Gerwig from ever being able to make a movie again. The way men are portrayed in this movie is unforgivable. Look, when my wife's date comes over on a Friday night to make love to her in our marital bed while I sit and watch in a dark corner from my chair, I don't want to see some woke Marxist giving her the pleasure I cannot. You might have seen in my last video, I bought some Barbies and set them on fire on my grill. How do you like that, Mattel? I burned your product, and all you've got is my money I paid you before I burn. In short, this film will make you so proud to be part of the gender that denies them control of their own bodies.
You're on with Frangela. Hi, Kev. Kevin.
Hello. How are you doing?
Good. Go ahead.
All right. Yeah. Hey, I've been listening to your show all morning. Once again, a great show. Love you guys. I listen every day if I can. But the topic you cover about Kamala Harris being talked to that way by Brett Baer, I have to say, and this Friday, I want to kind of be a little upbeat. But a lot of people have experienced that, particularly African Americans. I work in a corporate America, and I just have to say it. Just some people come off at you and they say things like that. And I've grown to even push back to say, who are you talking to that way? And when I saw that, it kind of just put chills on me because I have had people come off at me that way.
Yeah.
And even serving in the military. And I think I think it was good to happen because what we need to do is we need to see, even at the highest level, even with Barack Obama when he was president, and even with Kamala Harris, that people are being talked to that way.
Yep, I hear you. And by the way, every woman understands being interrupted and mansplained too. So 7 million people saw that. So good. Yeah, sorry, we have just 10 seconds, but I didn't get your reaction yet to the Brett Baer interview. Frangela.
I'm proud of her for doing it, and she handled it exceptionally well. I would have lost my mind.
Exactly. More with Fridays with Frangela on the Stephanie Miller Show.
Hi, I'm incredibly popular and charismatic Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. And hell yeah, I'm mad! The woke mob wants to lie about my really useful new law. They call it Don't Say Gay. Well, I'm here to say, don't say gay. Have you read it? Have you actually read my law? Have you read it? Because I'm going to be president. Yeah, I am. I'm so going to be president, and none of you can stop me. Okay? The only thing this very effective law does is ban any discussions of the gays and the transgenderisms with kids grades kindergarten through 3. And that's it. Of course you can still say gay. It's preposterous. You can say gay. It just allows any patriot to sue the living crap out of your school district if they don't like it. It's not censorship, folks, if they're censoring themselves. And I'm gonna be president. I'm the smart Trump. Some of you are wondering, does this law keep grades 4 through 12 teachers from saying gay? That depends on what your definition of "or" is. Classroom instruction by school personnel or third parties on sexual orientation or gender identity may not occur in kindergarten through grade 3 or in a manner that is not age appropriate or developmentally appropriate for students in accordance with state standards. What state standards are those? I don't know! Fuck around and find out! If you don't like my law, you're a groomer! And a pedophile, and a pedo-groomer. And that's what small government's all about. Just make me president already. I am not supposed to be a governor. Parents, you don't want your kids learning about gay sex at schools, do you? Learning about the kink and fetish communities? You want some woke public school teacher makes $40K a year teaching your kids about dom-sub relationships or safe words or hard limits? Parents, do you want your little child at school to be learning about edging and lube and glory holes? I don't think you do. And what about cock and ball torture? What if little Jimmy has a book report on older married men who are secretly into BDSM lifestyles? You want him talking to your school librarian about cock and ball torture? You have any books that can help me? Oh, I have one right here. Is that what you want? You don't want that. That's why I did this for you. Now, any nutjob can sue any school, anytime, for any reason. And who picks up the tab? You, the Florida taxpayer. This law doesn't hurt any children. It only hurts you. And if anyone asks, you tell them you fell. Listen, y'all don't want your kids being taught about sex in the public schools. That's a liberal plot. Parents should teach their children about sex, or don't teach them anything about sex. Let them grow up and bury that confusion regardless of what acting out it leads to later in adult life. I turned out fine, and I never learned a thing about sex from my mother. Look, I don't have time for any of this, okay? I've got math textbooks to ban. I've got majority black voting districts to destroy. I got 77,000 Disney employees who vote in this piece of crap state that I have to piss off. So don't believe the lies of the liberal woke mob. You can still say gay. Go ahead. Say it. I'm not going to stop you. Say gay. Say gay sex. You can say it. Say hot, sweaty, smelly, musky, dominating, top, bottom, switch, reversible, sissy, femboy, uncut, power top, raw, bareback, action. Let me hear you say it. You want to say it. Let me hear you say it. Say man-to-man action. Just say it. Just let me be president already. Can't you see? I'm already biologically a president. Trapped in a governor's body. This isn't who I really am. I'm Ron DeSantis. And just let me transition the president.
they do their job with gusto, which is what we want them to be fair. And you know, the sad thing is you'll always have a bad apple. And, you know, hundreds and hundreds of arrests, one bad arrest, and it's on the front page of every newspaper. And these people are incredible. They want to do their job, just like the Border Patrol. They want to do their job. We're going to let them do their job, and I'm going to give them immunity. We're going to protect them because they do things, and they end up getting sued. They lose their family. They lose their house. They lose their pension. They lose everything.
We need to reinvigorate our police, Frangela. That's what Trump...
By bashing them?
Right.
I don't... Yeah.
Does this go back to
shaken baby syndrome? Like what?
Yeah. Does this go back to his purge idea that he had?
Yeah. Oh, the day of... What did he say? It was one really rough day?
Yeah.
Oh my God! Can I just say that Univision town hall? We were saying, turns out that's the best journalist in America right now, the construction worker that actually asked some real questions. And I was saying the faces on the people in the town hall told you everything you needed to know. They were just like, I mean, I get the sense of just people not buying his BS anymore. Him talking about January 6th, no one got killed, no one had weapons. It was a day of love. Like everyone's like, what?
We watched it. We saw it. We saw it with our own eyes. And I don't care, Grandpa, how many times you sit here and try to tell us you won the Civil War. You didn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Josh Hawley was running away from a day of love?
Yes.
Right.
Okay, got it.
By the way, did I mention you should vote for Lucas Kuntz, who is hilarious? And not fisting aficionado Josh Hawley.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. CNN's John Berman prodded a Trump spokesperson to explain why Trump referred to January 6th as a day of love. He said, is Donald Trump confused? Does he literally not understand the facts, or is he deliberately trying to spread misinformation? I feel at this point it could be both with his dementia. I don't know, right? You feel like...
Well, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, he's lying. It doesn't really matter because he's lying. He saw the proof. He told them to take away the metal detectors when they said, you know, they've got these huge guns. He saw them with guns. And he said, but they're not here to hurt me. We know that he's lying.
Right. You saw footage of them with guns. I mean, it's okay. This was in the Bulwark. Speaking of being sick of Trump's BS, it's called The Twilight of America's Excuses. Over the last decade, we've created a stream of rationalizations for why so many voters want Trumpism. That stream is about to dry up. I mean, I have to hope this one, you know, everybody writes an opinion piece now, but, you know, people hate partisanship. They just want a president who gets things done. Joe Biden passed bipartisan gun reform, the CHIPS Act, Inflation Reduction Act. He passed as much major bipartisan legislation as any president in a generation. Bob Woodward, who can go stuff it in many ways.
Yeah, literally.
But his new book, he said, you know, they're writing here, Bob Woodward, who was as jaded and cynical as anyone in Washington, was talking about the Biden presidency, that what surprised him. He said the legacy of the Biden presidency will be the core national security team that he built and kept in place for nearly 4 years. They brought decades of experience as well as basic human decency. I believe President Biden and his team will be largely studied in history as an example of steady and purposeful leadership. It's the myth that Trump's trying to sell about the Biden-Harris, you know, administration, and the reality. Every economic indicator, as we keep talking about this. What's the lunatic's name? Short for lunatic. Representative Anna Paulina Luna, Republican of Florida. Yeah. Said she was not expecting a call last week when President Biden called her. She said, I did not expect that. I talked to him on the phone for about 10 minutes. The first thing he asked me, what did I need for my constituents? How did I fare with the storm? And then we move forward into talking about the issues that we're having with FEMA. I've obviously been very critical of President Biden in the past, but I will say him stepping in and taking control of the situation to assist for the right reasons was very honestly kind of shocking to me. That's because all you do is watch Fox News and listen to Trump. Right. She's one of these far-right lunatics that goes, oh, the reality of President Biden is he's a fantastic president who really cares about hurricane victims. I mean, I hope that that's breaking through with more people, right? Because she's a lunatic.
She is. She's absolutely
you know, we played a gentleman talking about how his father-in-law was listening to Trump. Right?
We played that.
And, you know, the reality is that I think that we do need these things to break through. People need this help. And, and it is especially during these horrible situations like hurricanes and what have you, that this is what government is for.
Right.
It is here to help you. And all this, oh, she's a socialist. Yes.
Yeah.
You need socialism. Yeah. You need help. The roof is off of your house.
And we've been talking all week about how these right-wing militias have been hunting FEMA, who had to evacuate areas where people desperately needed help because of all these lies. Mm-hmm.
And he says nothing.
Mm-hmm.
He says nothing except stoking these ridiculous conspiracy theories like they're going to take your house.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. I don't know what else to call them, a cancer, a poison, something. We just have to excise this on November 5th. But one epidemiologist says MAGA disease causes Trump followers violence. He said in these countries where you can't speak or act freely, you don't want to live there. Life is fear. People fear the government, their neighbors, even their family and friends. Businesses and the press can be taken away. People can become suddenly imprisoned or disappear. That's what he's trying to sell where we live now. Mm-hmm. I understand MAGA as an epidemic disease infecting many through what I call brain flaws. There are brain pathways for copying and following others in the cortex, dopamine system, pain setters to motivate conformity and violence. Violence is a disease, specifically a contagious disease. The disease spreads through these brain processes. He believes Trump's movement is a dangerous and lethal syndrome of that. I describe it as authoritarian violence disorder. Trump is a massive super spreader using streams of lies to reprogram people's brains into a pathological state, causing them to abandon their own decision-making and obey. Our economy, as well as our health and personal well-being, could deteriorate beyond what many Americans are willing to imagine if Trump is allowed to have power. I don't know how many different types of people can warn how many different types of ways. But you know what it is he is trying to convince them that Democrats are going to be violent to them unless they strike first, right?
Yes. In Harry Potter, there's a monster called a Dementor.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that is what Donald Trump is to the American people. He's a Dementor. He's just sucking the energy out of people and creating fear. And once he's got you in that trance, it's very difficult for people to get out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's the connection is that their fears lead them to him. And once he gets his claws into them, they can't get out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Let me give you another example. He doubled down on his attacks on Democrats as the enemy within, name-check Speaker Pelosi, as well as her husband Paul Pelosi, as sick and evil. So Paul Pelosi, deserved the hammer in the head from this lunatic? There's not enough said about this lunatic Trump supporter was there to assassinate Nancy Pelosi. It's only because she wasn't there that, this whole thing... The Pelosi's what did Paul Pelosi do? But this is how he demonizes people. Trump branded Democrats as the nation's most dangerous threat. He said they're Marxists and communists and fascists. Okay, those are all different things. He doesn't know what any of them mean.
Communists and fascists are on the exact opposite end of the spectrum.
Right. He said they're sick. The more difficult, the Pelosi's, these people, they're so sick and so evil. How is Paul Pelosi sick and evil? For taking a hammer to the head? I mean...
That's right. It's a cult, and the MAGA people will literally chew off their own foot to stay in the trap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they will harm themselves to stay in the trap. A man will sit there and literally not get FEMA help when he is hungry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When he's not food or clean water, because of the delusion and the mass delusion of this, and just really wanting to hold on to this racist white identity politic. That is what he's selling.
I love Nancy Pelosi said she won't even say Trump's name aloud because she considers it a grotesque word. This part, because I know you guys, the Biden for dinner camp, like many of us were in. This isn't going to be an interesting discussion, I think, moving forward. She revealed she has not spoken to President Biden since urging him to drop out of the race. She said she believed a cold political calculation was necessary after seeing the president's performance in the debate. She said that outweighed her fondness for him as a friend and longtime ally. She said, I have the greatest respect for him. I think he's one of the greatest consequential presidents of our country. I think his legacy had to be protected. I didn't see that happening on the course it was on, the election was on. My call was just to let's get a better course. He will make the decision as to what that is, and he made that decision. But I think he has some unease because we've been friends for decades. She said, elections are decisions. You decide to win. I decided a while ago that Trump will never set foot in the White House again as president or in any other capacity. And so she encouraged the Democratic Party to nominate Kamala Harris. Right. I have to say, Nancy Pelosi has rarely been wrong politically, and I guess we would have to say she's right. I know a lot of us have some thoughts about doing what was done publicly or not and how Biden was treated, but boy, nobody counts votes like Nancy Pelosi. And I got to say, based on what's happening, I think we're going to win. I think we're going to win big. But how are your thoughts and feels about that whole process still?
I'm gonna die mad about how they treated Joe.
Me too.
I'm gonna die mad about because they didn't just call him and say or publicly say we think we need a new candidate. They did things like tell donors to not donate to him. They did things like, and the reality here is not only did it didn't need to go that hard. You didn't need to join the chorus of is he competent?
Yeah.
To make this happen.
You do a very good discussion about what happens at the barbecue and what happens in the house.
That's right.
In the family.
Exactly. That's right. We don't do that. Before we got in the car to go to this election barbecue, what did we say?
We're not going to talk about it home. That's right. We're not going to talk our business in these streets.
I believe
talk our business in these streets.
I believe
you know what?
If your brother stabs you at the barbecue, you're on his side until you get back in the house.
Exactly.
He's fine. He's fine. That ain't nobody's business but you and the precinct. That's it.
That's it. But I'm going to tell you the truth is that what we watched was a public situation in which we did not know the status of Joe Biden on our side before this happened, because the reality is that he was forced out because of a performance issue.
Mm-hmm. Does it not make you re-infuriate you though when you look at Trump's obvious spiral into complete dementia? You're like,
my goodness.
Biden had one bad debate and he hasn't said anything comprehensible barely in months.
Also, he's refusing to give up his love for Hannibal Lecter. I can't get out of my mind. Of course it is infuriating that these standards are being placed on everybody else and nowhere near on him. Absolutely infuriating and disgusting. And also, let's not give them credit for Kamala, because the reason we have Kamala is because black ladies got together that Sunday night.
Yeah, well, that's what I always said. It is only
because they were trying to skip her.
Yeah. No, that's what I said. I mean, I always said, it is his decision alone, but they better not try to skip over the first sitting black lady vice president. I was like, no. These mini primaries, contested convention. No. None of that.
No, people weren't saying Kamala that week. They were saying all this. We'll have to figure out the process, and we'll do this and this. The little pageants that they wanted to have, and it's because we out here in the world went no.
And we were like, the process says you can suck our. That's what that's what the process is.
See that letter that you read at the beginning of the show. That's what they're talking about.
You don't know what meant.
Yes,
could have been
do.
pinky finger. Could have been
Louise.
We know it.
All right. My point is, we're all
You've
team.
upset people again.
Yes.
My point is, we're all Team America now. What is this headline? Women for Harris Walls birthday phone banking with Christine Pelosi and Stephanie Miller tomorrow at Grassroots Democrats headquarters. Our sexy liberal partner. Team Pelosi, Stephanie Miller, and Grassroots Democrats HQ excited to partner on a phone bank for Harris Walls in celebration of Kamala Harris's birthday. Join us tomorrow. There's going to be birthday cake for Angela. Come 3 to 5 here in Westwood. We already tweeted about it and did things about it.
Facebook, yes.
Angela, come on, there's birthday cake.
I'm in Detroit.
Oh, Oh, all right. That's a good enough excuse.
Yeah, I think that's an excuse.
All right.
To drive.
Remember not to talk Detroit to Detroit.
Right.
Okay.
I think that's the main thing we learned this week.
I love a Big Gretch going, keep Detroit out your mouth. I love me some Gretchen Whitmer. Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Big Gretch.
Big Gretch.
Okay.
Big Gretch. I
We're
was
like
seriously, you know what? When you said Big Gretch, I sincerely was like, does Stephanie know a rapper that I don't know?
All right.
Gretch, she's doing a collabo.
Do I have in the club? Yeah, because, well, Angela V. Shelton of the Detroit Sheltons will be celebrating Kamala's birthday with Big Gretch because what? It's Kamala Harris's birthday. It's her birthday. It takes Chris Lavoie too long to get in my birthday.
Asked for it like
2 seconds ago.
She's...
We all dancing. Here we go.
I hear it, though. I hear it.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Bum.
J.D. Vance is the sort of Republican that we're going to have to contend with for the next 10, 20 years. The Republican who says things exactly like Donald Trump says has an extremely similar platform in terms of his ridiculous ideas and dictatorial plans for the country, but says it in a reasonable way. Mm-hmm. And I'm too disillusioned in my fellow American voters right now to forecast that people will be able to weed that out, that people will be able to notice, because I think a lot of voters want to default back to the Republicans. I think there are a lot of swing voters who, given their druthers without any other outside influence, will just go, well, I'm just going to vote for the Republicans because of myths, because, oh, well, they're the daddies, they're the economy people, which is completely a lie, which is completely a myth.
Events in Washington have taken a violent and tumultuous turn in the past few hours.
Politicians under attack for opposing Venezuela's president. Dozens of his supporters breached the grounds of the National Assembly on Wednesday.
The peaceful transfer of power, the cornerstone of American democracy, seemed a highly abstract concept today, as Trump supporters clashed with police as they tried, and succeeded, to storm the Congress, where America's elected leaders had gathered to certify the election victory of Joe Biden.
Lawmakers and journalists tried to get to safety inside the building, but some of the attackers also got in before the door could be closed.
They were literally banging on the doors of Congress. And then some Trump supporters managed to get inside. They were armed and wandering the Capitol building,
unleashing chaos, and made their way inside the chamber, where they chased and beat lawmakers and journalists at the end of a special session marking the country's Independence Day. At least 5 opposition deputies were injured, some bleeding from the head, stumbling around the assembly corridors.
These pictures appear to show a woman protester being shot inside the Capitol building. A stretcher was sent in. She was later given CPR.
One of them, Americo de Gracia, had to be taken on a stretcher to an ambulance suffering from convulsions.
Once again, paramilitary groups with ties to the government broke into the Legislative Palace. 4 lawmakers were injured with cut heads, broken bones. 2 employees of the Parliament television network suffered head injuries. Firearms were brought in by civilians under the complacent watch of security services.
A protester breached the inner sanctum of the chamber. The vice president had to be removed to safety by his Secret Service detail. And then the joint session was adjourned. Earlier, the Republican Senate leader, for so long a loyal lieutenant of the president, turned on him with this withering assessment.
If this election were overturned by mere allegations from the losing side, our democracy would enter a death spiral.
President Nicolás Maduro, who was overseeing the traditional Independence military parade, condemned the violence and called for an investigation, but also planted doubts about who might be behind the attack.
I have been informed that during this important, brilliant, beautiful civil military event celebrating total independence, there have been some strange occurrences. They're always strange when the opposition is involved.
In a rally outside the White House, Donald Trump encouraged his loyal base to fight to overturn the result of this bitterly contested election.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women. And we're probably not going to be cheering so much for some of them. Because you'll never take back our country with weakness. You have to show strength and you have to be strong.
Yes, the injuries hurt us, but not as much as the pain we feel each time we see our country falling apart when they kill our youth. We will continue forward, don't have the slightest doubt.
Of his supporters needing little encouragement to join the fight.
We're here to support, if violence happens, like it happens, but we're not going to start it. We're just here to defend ourselves. Yeah.
Sorry, say that again. I'm a Mexican immigrant. I support Trump. Freedom is paid for with blood, and tyranny always masquerades itself as safety and security, and that's what we're fighting against right now.
Told me how to get my bedside clock off of military time, and that's to that I say God bless America. My favorite line of the morning is you guys all going, how have you lived all these years? It's that bite in there. Thank you, Jody. We love you, Frangela. Final word.
We love you.
Idiot of the week. SexyLiberal.com. Get those pay-per-view tickets for LA.